Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to ask you a question.
What is that?
The question is the media prepared for an extinction level event?
No.
No, they are not. We're going to talk about this because we have been talking a lot about layoffs in the media, particularly digital media. And now this article from, I believe, the New Yorker spells it out even more clearly. They said that this is an extinction level event. It's not just like, oh, we've seen record layoffs in the media. They're like, no. We're going to see the media just completely get destroyed by a meteor, and we're going to have to rebuild everything. But I think it's already happening. I think social media, individual bloggers, individual voices are replacing legacy media.
Well, I want to be clear that we don't like to see people lose their jobs.
Some people I do.
But I was gonna say, there are some that, we do kind of be like, haha, because they're a bunch of assholes. But yeah,
throw this up on the screen.
We don't actually want people to lose their jobs. But the flip side is we've been warning you guys for years this is going to happen if you didn't make some changes.
Yes.
And instead you double down the stupidity, and here we are. They hate us so much, but we actually try to warn them.
I know, that's like our lot in life. Yeah, we actually said 2 or 3 years ago that, look, if the tech bubble burst, which it looked like it was going to, that there was going to be a domino effect, and we were going to see a lot of these digital media outlets implode because
venture capital's gone. You're all going to get in trouble.
Yeah, venture capital was propping so many of these outlets up. They all kept dipping into venture capital, and then once it was gone, they're like, oh, crap, we actually have to make enough money to pay our own bills, and we can't do that. Uh-oh. And they started tossing people overboard. So we'll talk about this article. Might talk about this one. This is coming from Fortune, that they don't want to tell employees they're laid off. So they've got something called jargon monoxide, which is kind of like, yeah, we're downsizing, we're right sizing.
They always use the right sizing.
I can tell you what they're doing. They're getting rid of, if they're
problematic people.
Problematic people. It's the same thing in video games. It's the same thing we're seeing pretty much across the board in Hollywood. Like, yeah. We realize that the free money is running out, so we need people that can perform and bring value to the company, and you ain't it, man. You ain't it. So here's your box. Get the hell out. Good luck. Good luck with that. And then we'll talk about Taylor Lorenz again, because she's fun to talk about. She is just absolutely delusional, and she's going on a bender trying to be like, oh my God, guys, journalism's imploding. Oh God. It's like, yeah. You're not much of a journalist, because if you were, you would have seen this coming 2 or 3 years ago.
Yes, exactly.
I'm just saying. So before you get to it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, you get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
Not many woohoos in journalism these days. So many people being replaced with AI, and we've seen a fundamental shift in the Google algorithm. So a lot of these blogs aren't even getting any traffic whatsoever. You can't use social media, which I think they bring up in this. You can't use social media to promote your blog much anymore, because Facebook wants to keep you trapped on their platform.
Which we've been saying.
And
a lot of them you can. It's just pay to play. I mean, like Taylor Lorenz was making these digs at I forget, Tucker Carlson or something.
Yeah, I think she's going after
if
Tucker
you see him on an actual social media platform, and I'm like,
TikTok?
Where she's at? Where TikTok? Which I can tell you right now, if you throw a lot of money at TikTok, you'll get a lot of interaction and views. The more you spend, the more you'll do.
TikTok is the easiest social media platform to game.
Yes.
So many of these people that are claiming to have like 100,000, 200,000, 500,000 followers, like it's very, very easy to game TikTok because they like your money. Right? They even have a little button down there you can push to give them more money, because, the Chinese company ByteDance, they want your money. And it's like an in-app purchase to boost your stuff.
Even X, we point out many times, like Rolling Stone has all these followers, but very little interaction.
Yes.
Like they all could game it it used to be way easier to game it, and you could game it and get all these subscribers that weren't even real. It's the same damn thing, just, in reverse of what she was saying. But it's the same thing. These outlets, these news outlets and quotes, like she's part of, they were gaming it the whole time too. Doesn't mean that they actually have those followers.
Yeah. So this person writing this article, it's coming from the New Yorker, Claire Malone.
Go ahead.
Said that when she, I guess, started their career, whatever, that an investigative reporter said, file your taxes and keep your personal lives in order. Never give the rich and powerful a way to undercut your journalism. But perhaps the most memorable piece of advice, and this is years ago, The most memorable piece of advice was from a late career writer who didn't mince words. You want to make it in journalism, he said, marry rich. We laughed, he didn't. So even back then, it was understood that if you're going to be a freelance writer or even a staff writer at one of these outlets, you're probably not going to make a lot of money. And what they've been doing is they've been luring people, recent college grads with like 6-figure salaries right out of the gate, which is not sustainable. That's what happened with The Messenger. Like they had $50 million. They flushed it down the toilet in less than a year because they were giving their editors almost $1 million a year.
Yeah, I still can't understand how you go through that much money that quickly. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, literally flushing down the toilet.
And, I'm coming at this from a different angle than a lot of other people talking about on YouTube. Not that their opinions are invalid, but having actually worked as a journalist in a newsroom for many years, that's how I started my career, right? Like, he's 100% right. It's like, I know what was involved historically in that. So it's, your prospects are kind of dicey, and most journalists aren't making a lot of money. Even if you're working for like the New York Times, historically, you weren't making a lot of money compared to where you're living. Mm-hmm. But again, that venture capital is like, oh, we can give people $150,000 right out of the gate, to write hit pieces about video games, because it's not real money, it's monopoly money. And if we run out, we just go get more. Well, the
problem too wasn't just like the venture capital. It was like we have the ad rates,
plummeting
too, which I think is actually was causing a lot of the recent problems. As the ad rates are now going down,
they're
significantly
terrible. I can't even stress to you. Again, we run multiple websites. Some we talk about, some we don't. We've run websites for like 15, 20 years, right? The ad rates are the worst they've ever been in the entire time that we've been doing this. Like, they're absolutely abysmal. So if these publishers are pivoting to AI, they're pivoting to AI because that's one less story you have to pay for, right? I mean, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, they view it as the site owner views it as content that contains advertising code. And it doesn't matter if it's human generated content or AI generated content. All it matters is you get people to the page and they look at the ads.
Right.
And that's it, and that whole model is crumbling now, because for years it was, the ad rates were insane, but we think that a lot of it was all puffed up anyway. We think a lot of these sites were driving fake traffic, again, trying to get more venture capital. Like, oh, look at all the ad revenue we're making. Look at all the views we're getting. Look at all the whatever. Hey, give us another, $80 million to stay in business for the next 5 years. And that's what they did. And it was a shell game for years. And now it's imploding. So the author here is like, a report that tracked layoffs in the industry in 2023 recorded 2,681 in broadcast, print, and digital news media. NBC News, Vox Media, Vice News, Business Insider, Spotify, The Skim, 538, The Athletic, and Condé Nast, the publisher of The New Yorker, which is where this is being published, all made significant layoffs. BuzzFeed News closed, as did Gawker. The Washington Post, which lost $100 million last year, offered buyouts to 240 employees.
Almost all of these we've talked about on this channel.
Yeah. In just the first month of 2024, Condé Nast laid off significant number of Pitchfork staff and folded the outlet into GQ. I think Uproxx is getting shut down too, I read.
Yeah, that's what I just read the other day. You sent me, yeah.
Yeah, Uproxx, that's another one that was like activists took over this publication, and it was all like constantly dunking on the chuds.
I think a big part of it too is you had these really rich people buying them up to use them as playthings, as vanity projects. And I think that they'll get rid of it before they lose money on it. Like they'll play with it so long and then they get tired of it. And I don't think that they're the right owners for such things.
Yeah.
And then I think a lot of the trouble started there also, but that's a whole other story.
They got reprieves because a lot of billionaires bought them as
right.
playthings.
They probably weren't sustainable then either. And then
no,
the billionaires found it's like Elon Musk buying Twitter. We kept saying back to the comments about stuff being fake. I remember I was like, most of the accounts on there, there've been study after study, most of the accounts on there aren't even real. Like at least half. Some people expected, estimated 3/4 of the people on there weren't even real. Why would you offer a lot of money for it? And it's like, you guys are all like late to the party because this is all stuff we've been saying for a while.
Yeah, I mean, that's it.
Makes sense.
For us not being real journalists or whatever, if you had listened to us 2 or 3 years ago, you might not be in the situation you're in. I'm not talking these publications. I'm talking individual journalists that went down with the ship.
Repeatedly.
It's like, you've got time to retrain. You can go do something else. In fact, this paragraph ends with them talking about, Sports Illustrated, having the big AI scandal. But then one journalist recently canceled a networking phone call with me, writing, "I've decided to officially take my career in a different direction." There wasn't much I could say to counter that conclusion. It was perfectly logical.
Yeah, and I don't blame them. I mean, the thing is, cool. You could easily. A lot of people have skills. That they could do something else. Yeah. And if you get to a position, instead of holding on until you drown, you're better to try to do something else. Now, if it comes back, bounces back later, you can always come back. But save yourself. I'm like, just don't go down with the ship. Why should you go down with the ship? The billionaires who own it aren't.
Yeah, they're not. They're going to use this as a write-off. They're going to offload it, to some other company or whatever. So here's the thing, too. I always tell people, it's like sometimes you have to make a decision to change, or that decision will be made for you. You're better off if you're going to change your career path. You're better off making that decision yourself when you can, and having your pick of what to do and where to go versus... And the time. To
shift.
Versus being forced into it because you waited too damn long and they laid you off. Like, you can see it coming.
Save yourselves. We're telling you, don't go down with it trying to save these people, white knight for these people. They don't give two shits about you. They're going to throw you overboard to save themselves anyway. So save yourself first.
So this guy, Matthew Goldstein, he's a media consultant. He wrote in his January newsletter, said, "Publishers, brace yourselves. It's going to be a wild ride. I see a potential extinction-level event in the future." All right. He also pointed to Google. This is all stuff we talked about. Goldstein pointed to Google's rollout of AI integrated search.
I'm not gonna lie to you. The reason I think the ad rates are down so much is I think the algorithm's gotten changed so that the money, it's mostly bouncing to Google first, so they get money first. I really do believe that. And I think that a lot of people are shifting their ad spends to like YouTube and places like that as well. But that's a whole other story.
Yeah. So again, these are things we mentioned, and I actually mentioned it in a video talking about gaming journalism and how it didn't look good for these sites because Google now, they have an AI snippet at the top of the search result that encapsulates or just cuts to the chase. Because you go look at articles, you search for information, and you go to the article. You have to go through 19 paragraphs to get to the information you want. Google will tell you exactly what you want to know.
Interestingly enough, I want to say it was Australia, but I can't remember what country it was. They were fighting Google and they actually blocked them from doing that. They said that that's not fair to the people that have made the content. They scrape it and then, you go there and you don't have to read the articles. And I want to say it was there. I could be wrong. But they had actually wouldn't let Google, they wouldn't agree to some of their things, their terms because of that. They didn't want them to be able to do that to people. So I know that they changed it in some places, but the United States, of course, is not one of those places.
No. So, and that's it. People, they want information, they want it quickly, and they want it without bias. Now, we could have a whole nother conversation about whether or not AI is biased.
A lot of people want bias. They want confirmation bias.
So this is Brian Morrissey. He's another media analyst. He recently wrote in his newsletter, The Rebooting. They said it's going to be a different industry, right? It's going to be leaner and diminished, often serving as a front operation for other businesses such as events, e-commerce, and sponsored content. In fact, he told me what we're witnessing is nothing less than the end of the mass media era. This is a delayed reaction to the commercial internet itself. I don't know if anything could have been done differently. So he's like, this is it. This is the end of news as we've known it. Like, this is the end of mass media. We're going to pivot into, I believe, we're going to pivot into individual voices who are going to, citizen journalists. And that is a problem for some people like Taylor Lorenz, who doesn't like some of the voices that people are listening to and has spent her entire career working for other people.
What the person say? She's like a bully or something?
Yeah, this is spiked online. They had an article about
Mean Girl. That's right.
Yeah, they said American media's preeminent mean girl, Taylor Lorenz.
Oh, be careful. She's going to do another video about, something you said.
Is she going to show up on her doorstep or something? And
I'll give her coffee.
I'll give her coffee. She looks like she drinks a lot of coffee. I think she's,
Okay, you do too.
Yeah, but she would like to know that us plebs, things are like really, really hard for her and her fellow mainstream media journalists right now. We did a video about this.
Again, we've been telling you guys this is going to go this way. You're like, ha ha ha, we went to journalism college. What do you know? A lot, apparently. A lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Because we called all of this. We told you this was going to happen.
They'll say, oh, Clownfish TV is like a clock. It's right once or twice. Bitch, please. We are right more often than not. We are not always right. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, we're not always
but
right.
We're right quite a bit.
This I saw coming, just patterns. And again, being site owners, and they're talking about how insane the ad rates were like in the early 2000s. And I do remember. I mean, they were absolutely insane. This is kind of what killed webcomics as a business model too, is that people weren't getting the ad rates they used to get, when they first started. And then everybody just kind of consolidated their content on Webtoon, but it was really hard to get paid on Webtoon. A lot of people only went to Webtoon because they were doing like a venture capital funded thing where they were putting money in your Patreon account every month. That's when we went. They were dropping, a couple $1,000s in our Patreon account for leftover comics. I'm like, okay, that's fine. We'll do. Then that ran out. So they wanted to get people over there, get the audience over there. And then once they're comfortable with it, they're like, yeah, we're going to take away the safety net now because we got lots of people over here. And they're reading our Korean comics, not the American comics. And that's what we wanted all along because we own that stuff. Right. But they said, yeah, like none of this was sustainable. And they just go on and on and on. But they're basically saying like, look, this is it. This is the end of an era. This is the official end of the mainstream media. And it all comes down to money. When the money runs out, that's it, And how do newspapers even make money in 2024?
I'd love to give you an answer to that because I don't know what to tell you either. We are also running into a similar situation with our blogs where the ad revenue is down. So you're going to have to find other ways to make, to pay your people, make it work, or you're just going to have to close them up. The thing is, there's always going to be demand for news. I'd love to know what the AI is going to do when it has nothing to scrape.
That is a good point. So what they're doing now is the AI is actually starting to scrape content from videos and podcasts too. So people are pivoting the video and they're pivoting the podcast. And then because the captions are auto-generated, the AI is actually scraping that content. Now, the thing is,
they misquote me a lot because I have a lisp and because
they mispronounce. Yeah.
So I love to see that article. And they'd be like, I said something like, I said, shut up. And they're going to say, and then they're shitting up everything else. It's like,
pretty much. I mean, they're talking about subscription models, but they said, how are people going to manage that digital subscriptions when one, they're used to getting everything for free for years. And that's the way it's worked because of advertising. And two, like people are already paying so much for TV and they're paying so much for internet.
Right.
You want them to subscribe to your digital magazine, unless it's a unique voice. And that's where some people come out ahead, with like Substack, or they talked about Puck News. You've got a unique voice. Somebody's giving you something you can't get anywhere else.
People that are smaller too are more nimble. And if they're like, everything's done themselves, they don't have to, if it's like a hobby, they don't have to make as much money either to stay around. So you're going to see a lot of smaller places probably survive for a while. But, if they have any people or staff, that might be a problem.
They're talking about how everybody's going to TikTok and you can't really monetize TikTok very well.
We've been telling you that for a while too.
And that's where
it's easy to buy it and cheat it, by the way.
It is, but that's where Taylor Lorenz.
That's what I'm saying. I don't believe any of the shit of the number of followers she has because I know how easy it is to buy that.
Yeah.
You throw money at it till you get where you want to be. It's not hard.
I mean, it just goes. I mean, this is like they must be getting paid by the word, and this is like the last paycheck or something.
I don't know.
Yeah. Wow. So yeah, I don't know, guys. I think if you're not in it ankle deep, knee deep, thigh deep, whatever, crotch deep, I would get the hell out of digital journalism. I mean, that's the best advice I can give you. I mean, some people are going to make a career out of podcasting or commentary videos, or maybe you've got a large enough audience that you can transition them into a paid subscription model.
Or maybe, if you're a writer and you have a field you specialize in, you could switch into working as a writer in that field. That's not like a journalist, but like, someone who writes copy for something in the field. Or,
yeah. I mean, it's really, really dicey right now. Go back to school. Actually, the best thing you could do, I think at this point, if you went back to school, is train to do something that cannot be replaced by AI. Train to do something blue collar. I know it's beneath a lot of you.
Oh my gosh, yes, that's the way
I know
to go.
it is.
That's true.
That is the attitude a lot of these people have, but like you're gonna have to learn to weld or learn
It's like the South Park episode.
Yeah, people
You
don't know how to
know?
do shit anymore.
Yeah,
And that's true. It's 100%
It's
true.
completely true. Like, I mean, if you have the aptitude to do those things because you could just, ask what you want and you'll get it, because people can't do things like that anymore. They lost the skills to do it.
I mean, this is what gets me is like, it's so hard now to find a contractor. It is. If you were a good contractor, you'd have your pick of jobs. I mean, we've had to schedule people months out.
If I can't do it myself.
Yeah.
My dad used to be able to help me, but he's getting up there, so it's harder for him now to do it. I don't want to make him because I don't want him to get hurt.
Because I can't fix the door in the oven myself, so I gotta,
Well,
hey, I can fix some stuff.
You fixed it anyway.
I can fix some stuff.
He's good at fixing computers.
I am very good at fixing computers.
If it's technology, you're better at it than I am. If it's something that's like physical, like you have to. If I can't do it, I call my dad.
Yeah, yeah. He is from like the last generation that could do shit.
He is. He could do pretty much anything. So
yeah. So that's it. Learn to do shit, and then you'll be fine. But yeah, the extinction level event is here, guys. Again, years of warning. If you were actually a good journalist, you would have seen all the warning signs, but you've only known prosperity. You've only known. Getting that $150,000 job right out of college, and then like, what the hell happened? I'm like, well, reality happened. That's what happened. We're gonna wrap it up.
Yes.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we'll talk later.
Bye.